What's good, y'all? It's your boy, Mr. Cheap Sense here. And a fellow reviewer and somebody who influenced me in the beginning of my fragrance journey to start doing reviews in store like Ross, TJ Maxx, Marshalls, the rack stores as we like to call them, discount stores. Big Beard Business was one of the first ones I saw, and Mo, his YouTube channel used to be called something else. I can't remember the name of it, but it's now Scent Nation. And he was doing the rack store videos, and it interested me or intrigued me to start doing it also. And I found it to be quite fun. And I actually found a lot of hidden gems, which I brought to you all in the beginning of my fragrance journey. So Mo ventured out and decided he wanted to be an entrepreneur and start his own company, his own line of fragrance. And the name of the company or house is called Darna, Darna. And one of his fragrances, the one I wore today, is called Alpha Number 1. And I must say he did a pretty good job on this fragrance. Performance surprised me. One of the things he talked about, and that we all talked about in the fragrance community, especially the past few months, is the fact that a lot of fragrances that come out don't last. They don't project well. They don't, longevity isn't that good. And most fragrances that have been coming out either resemble something else or are a formulation of something else or a clone of something else. And I can't speak for him on what exactly he was going for when he made this fragrance. I like it, but it does remind me of at least one other fragrance. And it's not the same. It's not a clone or a copy that I know of, but there's a note in this that when you smell it, you automatically think of other fragrances. And this note has been used to death. And it is the note of ambroxan. Ambroxan, musk, and citrus are the three notes that I got in this fragrance off of his website, Darna Fragrances. And I will leave the link to that down below if you want to check out his fragrances, what he has from his starter line. This one to me kind of reminds me of something like Coach for Men. You know how you get that sharp, citrusy type smell? Excuse me. That is pretty much what you get when you smell this. You get that sharp ambroxan, you get that citrus, and it's musky. And it's not bad at all. Performance to me, on the level that I've been on with fragrances, almost everything that I've worn, with the exception of a few, have been average or just below average. This one falls average to just above average. Most of the average to below average falls in that 4.5 to maybe 6 hour mark. This fell in that 6 to 7 hour mark longevity. Projection off of this Alpha Number 1 off of my skin today in the heat, I got about 2.5 to 3 hours projection. You never, hardly ever hear me say anything performs or projects that long. This one does off of my skin. Now, it might not do that for the next person, but for me, I got about 2.5 to 3 hours projection. I got about 6.5 to 7 hours longevity out of it. It smells great, but like I said, it does remind me of Coach for Men, and it kind of reminds me of Office for Men by Jeremy Fragrance, if you want me to be completely honest. Now, I know there are going to be some people out there who are gonna smell this and say otherwise, but this is just my nose and what I get out of this, and that's what I get. And it's only because of that ambroxan. If it wasn't for the ambroxan, I would not be saying this about this fragrance. He did a great job with the performance aspect on this, I think. But what we do need in the fragrance community, we need more originals. It's been said by myself, Trey Sense, Sam Broom, and many others that we need more originals. I don't mind clone houses or companies coming out and they're, making a killing off of copying fragrances, other popular fragrances, but give us a signature line, something that you may in the long run end up being more proud of than just making a bunch of clones. We have a lot of great perfumers in the world, and for people to keep using the same ones over and over and over, and they're not inspired to do anything different because their last one was a hit, or another company wants to just copy what was popular, like Dior Sauvage came out and then everybody wanted to have that same kind of fresh kind of fragrance. Bleu de Chanel, same way that came out. Aventus came out, everybody wanted to do that. Let's get something different. Let's go down another avenue. This is not a knock on you, Mo. If you see this video, I love your fragrance. I think it smells wonderful. It just reminds me of other fragrances that I have in my collection or I have smelled before. So that's the only downside I see to Alpha number 1. But for someone who doesn't have something like Coach for Men or Date for Men, not Date for Men, Office for Men, or any other fragrance that has that ambroxan type note to it, this would be perfect. You can get a 30 ml of this for I think it's $45, which isn't bad. You're going to get a great performing fragrance. It's going to smell very good. All I can say is congrats again, Mo, for stepping out on faith and doing your thing. Same with all of the others. I won't mention them in this particular video because that is competition for Mo. But take heed to what I said, fragrance companies that are coming out, these clone houses and whoever else is coming out or is already out. Give us some signature stuff. Don't just do the same old ambroxan. Don't do the same old oud. Don't do the same old, give us something new. So with that being said, shout out once again to Mo from Scent Nation for doing his thing. Link will be down below. You can go to his website, check out his fragrances. And that's about it, y'all. Here's to smelling great. Peace.